Hello, my name is Caleb Smith with the Rocket Miner newspaper, here to provide your coronavirus update for May 2nd, 2020. It's been a slower news Saturday, so we'll get through this a little bit more quickly than usual. I hope you've had a productive weekend thus far. I don't know if you were out at the Sweetwater Events Complex, taking advantage of the free food delivery that was hosted there today. Maybe you were taking advantage of the absolutely gorgeous weather that we've been enjoying recently. Maybe you were on the couch, catching up on the handful of items you haven't gotten around to binging yet, slipping in some naps. Whatever it was, I hope it was enjoyable, and that happiness continues to um, make things a little bit better through the rest of today and through the rest of the weekend. Looking at the scope of the coronavirus here and across the globe, according to the Wyoming Department of Health, the number of laboratory-confirmed cases in Wyoming is at 429. The number of probable cases is at 150. And our death toll remains in the single digits with 7 people right now. In Sweetwater County, our figures remain mostly static. We're at 11 confirmed cases and 7 probable. That includes the one additional case we had this week, which was also the first case in Sweetwater County that required a hospitalization. We're hopeful that this woman has a quick and full recovery. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, in the United States, the total number of cases sits at 1,092,815, which the CDC notes is 30,326 new cases compared to yesterday. When it comes to the American death toll, that number is currently at 64,283, which is 1,829 new deaths compared to Friday. Johns Hopkins University is reporting that worldwide there are 3,424,254 cases. The total death toll is now at 243,674 people. And when it comes to people who have recovered, that number is now 1,092,720. The coronavirus continues to upend things and have some unexpected consequences. One of which I'm highlighting from a story from the Wyoming Tribune-Eagle, talking about how the COVID-19 is underscoring gender disparities, especially as female unemployment surges. In the last couple of weeks, the share of women filing unemployment claims in Wyoming has skyrocketed to levels far above historical norms. Just going back in the timeline, Governor Mark Gordon announced a statewide public health emergency on March 13th. That's when we saw some of the earliest health orders, some of which are now being lifted or will be there are plans for them to be scaled back in the coming weeks. But following the first 3 weeks after that March 13th declaration and some of the health orders that closed places like beauty parlors, barbershops, nail salons, in-house dining and restaurants, some of which are just started reopening this Friday based on what businesses were willing to and what customers were expecting. But in that initial first 3 weeks, women made up 51.5% of new unemployment claims in Wyoming. That's according to data from the Wyoming Department of Workforce Services. For perspective, it's noted that women made up only 25.4% of the initial claims in the first 11 weeks of this year. This is not just a Wyoming thing. The Fuller Project conducted a examination of unemployment claims in 17 states and found that women made up a majority in all of those 17 states that they looked at, with the high being a 67% of claims in Alabama during a certain week. Some of the experts consulted say that's because a lot of the industries that were impacted by a lot of the initial health orders, previously mentioned hair salons, massage places, whatnot, that those are industries that see a higher percentage of women amongst their workers. The fact that Wyoming now make up the majority of unemployment claims in Wyoming is also notable because men outnumber women in Wyoming by one of the highest rates in the country. So the fact that they are a majority of the unemployment claims is significant. It's note that the numbers could get even worse in the coming weeks when it comes to that percentage. The Department of Workforce Services have yet to complete or yet to process unemployment claims for those who are self-employed, and that would impact a number of businesses such as hair salons or massage therapists that are often led by people who put themselves down as self-employed. Keep an eye on that because that's the type of thing that even as some of these health orders are lifted and we look for safe, practical ways to be able to get back to business as normal, these are going to be some of the businesses that have taken a hit. And even if everything completely went back to normal tomorrow, and it's not going to, just the reverberations from the last couple of months will be the type of thing that will be harder for some of our businesses to handle, especially the smaller, independently owned, self-operated shingles. Be looking for ways to support our local businesses. It's easy to do. Some of them are easier than others. It's a lot of people talk about restaurants, but there's photography studios. There's home decor, furniture stores, rock shops, all sorts of other ways that that they're part of our community, and we need to be racking our brains to show how we can support them, because we want to do what we can to get as many people possible through this, not just health-wise, not just quality of life, but the quality of the community too. When it comes to having things to look forward to, the Kentucky Derby was originally scheduled for this weekend. They didn't have it, but there was a virtual event, and according to the organizers, Secretariat won in a race against 12 fellow Triple Crown winners, adding the horse's latest win 47 years after the colt won the actual race back at Churchill Downs. NBC, which had the original broadcasting rights, helped put together this to see who's the best of the best of the best. For those of you who are more interested in the actual race, that has been rescheduled for September 5th, so put that down on your calendar. Also, when it comes to keeping optimistic about the future, the University of Wyoming has extended the deadline for football season ticket renewals. While normally the deadline for that would be the last Friday in April, which we've passed, they've added an additional 6 weeks, so you now have until June 15th for those people who have been rocked by the consequences of the coronavirus, and they just may want to be getting a more confident grip on their financial situation. They note that the deadline extension is not due to a notable decrease in sales. They're reporting that about 3/4 of last year's season tickets have already been re-upped for the coming season. Turning to UW Athletics Director Tom Berman, they still expect to play a full 12-game season this year, and they just want to let people know that they are understanding and are trying to be as flexible as possible in these times of uncertainty. One of the things to note, UW went 6-0 last season, and some of the matchups scheduled for War Memorial Stadium in 2020 include Weber State, Pac-12 foe Utah, along with conference matchups with San Diego State, Air Force, Utah State, and Boise State. So we want to be optimistic even though the news has not always been as sunny as we'd like it to be, we're still looking for ways that we can brighten our short-term and long-term outlook and just show support for whether it's the Cowboys when they take the field, whether it's the businesses as they make ongoing adjustments to get through this trying season, and our own neighbors and family members who are still trying to figure out the best way forward. Part of that is keeping yourself informed, and that's why the Rocket Miner's here. This has been Caleb Smith, wishing you a good day and a safe tomorrow.